You're listening to Protecting What Matters by the Ohio Department of Commerce. Commerce is Ohio's chief regulator, and we play a vital role in keeping you safe by protecting your property, your money, and some of the products you use every day. This is designed to bring awareness to important issues and help educate consumers and businesses. Join us as we chat with trusted industry experts focused on providing you with the tools you need to help you protect what matters most in your life.
I think the complaint aspect was a game changer for consumers. We do more than just help with complaints. We educate. Our staff is prepared to answer questions about specific line item charges on your bill, address questions about down cable lines, easements, rates, streaming services, and even help get federal credits for internet service.
You're listening to Protecting What Matters. I'm your host, Brandon Klein with the Ohio Department of Commerce. Cable television. Do you still have it? Do you have problems with your cable provider? But more importantly, do you know where to go when you do have them? With me in this episode is Linda Pausch. They are administrator of the Video Service Authorization Program. Thanks for joining us, Linda.
Well, thank you for having me.
So my first question, what does the Video Services Authorization Program have to do with cable television?
Great question. Prior to 2007, cable television providers negotiated contracts or cable franchise agreements with local government officials. In 2007, the cable franchising law changed and gave the Ohio Department of Commerce the authority to regulate cable TV in the state of Ohio.
So, and how does the VSA program regulate cable television?
Great question. We regulate the industry through an authorization program. In order to provide cable television service in Ohio, a provider must receive an authorization from the Department of Commerce. Providers submit an application and a $2,000 filing fee. Our staff reviews the application, makes sure that the qualifications have been met, then issues an authorization. The cable law also contains 8 consumer service standards and other terms and conditions that must be followed by the cable TV provider. Once an authorization is issued, our job is to ensure compliance with those standards, terms, and conditions.
Can you give me some examples of those standards and terms and conditions?
Absolutely. Providers must have the ability to air the emergency broadcast alert on their cable channels. Most of us know this as the screeching sound that interrupts a program that we are watching, and then you'll see a scroll appear at the top of your screen alerting us to a weather warning, Amber Alert, or sometimes it's just the test of the local emergency broadcast system. Twice a year, we require each company to submit results from the statewide test of the alert system. Another standard, the law also requires companies to provide 30 days written advance notice to customers prior to raising rates, removing channels, or making changes to its policy. Companies are required to repair service interruptions within 72 hours and provide credits for interruptions that last more than 4 hours.
But how do you interact with a cable company that may not adhere to those requirements?
Our goal is to always work with the company to achieve compliance. Most of the time, a violation occurs because of a simple oversight or a glitch in the system that can be fixed immediately. But sometimes we need to take more formal action and issue a notice of violation. This route can resolve in the issuance of a monetary penalty or, worst case, revocation of an authorization.
So if I have a problem with my cable company, what should I do?
First, we always suggest that you contact your cable provider to try to resolve your issue. If you are unsuccessful or can't get through to the company, then by all means, reach out to us.
And can you give us a rundown of what the complaint process is?
Sure. Consumers needing our help can reach out to us in one of 4 ways. Call us, send us an email, send us a written complaint through the mail, or submit a complaint through our website. If you call us with a complaint, we will ask several clarifying questions, ask for your contact information, name of account holder, telephone number, and address, and then we'll send a complaint to the company. The company will then contact the complainant the same day or within 24 hours to acknowledge receipt of our complaint. The company will then research the complaint and follow up with the customer with the resolution. At the conclusion of the investigation, the company will then send us a written resolution within 3 to 7 days. Upon receipt of that written resolution from the company, we will contact you to make sure that your complaint has been resolved. If you need further assistance or the complaint has not been resolved, we will send a follow-up complaint to the company.
So, and how long does that process, how long does it take to resolve a complaint?
So that depends. That's a good question. That depends on which company we're talking about. Sometimes your complaint can be resolved the same day. Most complaints are resolved within 72 hours. Some may take longer, depending on the situation, but usually all complaints are resolved within 10 days. Our system flags complaints that have been open longer than 7 days. At that point, we will send a status request to the company and follow up with you to let you know that we are still working on your complaint. Our complaint process involves both the company, the customer, and us, so everybody is in the loop and everyone knows what's going on.
And tell me again, how do I contact the VSA program?
Sure, folks can contact us via our cable complaint hotline at 877-207-2225. Send us an email at vsa@com.ohio.gov or file a complaint through our website, which is com.ohio.gov/VSA.
It's your money, come and claim it. The Ohio Department of Commerce Division of Unclaimed Funds is currently safeguarding more than $3 billion in unclaimed funds. So there's a good chance you or someone you know has money waiting to be claimed. Just head over to our website, unclaimedfunds.ohio.gov, to search your name, the name of a family member, or a loved one to see if you have an unclaimed fund.
Welcome back to Protecting What Matters. We're talking about cable television, more specifically the Video Service Authorization Program with its administrator, Linda Pausch. Linda, we've talked about how to file a complaint with the VSA program in our last segment. I think it's a safe bet that many people still might get cable TV primarily to watch sporting events like the Super Bowl or golfing tournaments. So if I'm having an issue with my cable, how quickly can the VSA program resolve the issue?
Well, if customers contact us Monday through Friday, and depending on the nature of the complaint, it's possible that we will be able to resolve the complaint within 24 hours. But generally, complaints are resolved within 72 hours. Some may take a little longer, up to 10 days or longer, depending on the situation.
And that's right, you're only open Monday through Friday. So what can consumers do to avoid a problem before there's some sort of a sporting event happening for the upcoming weekend?
That's a great question. Don't wait until the day before the event to get service interruptions fixed. That is my main piece of advice. If you are currently experiencing a service interruption or an outage, call your cable company now to report that problem. With that said, we all know that outages can happen at any given moment. So always have a backup plan if you are planning on watching a major sporting event or any other major event in your life. Always have a backup plan. You might be able to find the event on a streaming app. However, if your cable is out, then your internet is likely out as well. So you won't be able to stream the event unless you use your cell phone or another source. Another option, if your cable goes out, did you know that it's possible to watch the event the old-fashioned way with an antenna? Many folks don't realize that you can still receive programming for free over the air with a digital antenna. If the event is shown on a local broadcast station, you can use an outdoor or indoor digital antenna to access the channel over the air. However, we'd recommend that you test the antenna before the event to make sure you have reception. Finally, if your cable company and the programmer are stuck in a contract dispute and the channel showing the event is off the air, you can use a digital antenna if the event is on a local channel. You can try to find the event on a streaming app or check out our service area maps on our website to find a new provider.
And what are some things that the VSA doesn't regulate?
We do not regulate streaming services like Netflix, Hulu, or satellite companies like DirecTV or Network. Nor do we regulate the internet or phone services offered by your cable company.
And how often do you get questions about streaming services?
Every day. Frustration with cable rates is one of our top 5 complaints. When consumers contact us to complain about their rates, they will ask us whether streaming services are cheaper. While we are not cost-benefit experts, we can review a customer's current bill, provide cost comparisons, and then encourage them to do their homework before switching to streaming. Additionally, streaming services can be interrupted for many different reasons. This can be very frustrating for consumers who are used to pushing a button to reset on their set-top box or call to report an interruption to their cable company. I can totally relate to this, as I haven't had access to Hulu for the last 3 days, and I have no idea why. So for those folks whose interruption or whose streaming services are interrupted due to an internet issue, we can send a complaint to the customer's internet provider. Otherwise, we will suggest that you reach out to the streaming service.
And what happens when there are issues with internet service that's provided by a traditional cable provider?
Well, if we have a contact at your cable or internet provider, we can send a complaint to the provider. As I mentioned before, our complaints are sent to the company's escalated complaint group, which bypasses the regular customer service reps. Therefore, our complaint will be sent to someone who can resolve your complaint.
And let's say there's an issue with a cable provider and you don't have any jurisdiction to resolve it. Is it still worth reaching out to you and your program?
Absolutely. While we are only able to enforce the 8 consumer service standards listed in the cable law, we have a great working relationship with the 53 companies that we regulate, so we are able to send your complaint and get results. Also, we do more than just help with complaints. We educate. Our staff is prepared to answer questions about specific line item charges on your bill, address questions about down cable lines, easements, rates, streaming services, and even help get federal credits for internet service. And if we don't have an answer, then we will do our best to find an agency who can answer the questions you have.
Can you give us an example of a situation where you didn't have jurisdiction, but we're still able to help?
Sure, and actually I have quite a few examples here. We recently helped a family get internet service installed. The family lives in rural Ohio and not on a main road, and the company had requested an upfront payment of $18,000 before it would install service. The last site survey conducted by the company was several years old. We asked the company to conduct a new survey, and to the benefit of the family, the company was able to install service without that hefty down payment. We were so happy for that family. Another example is simply helping the customer reach the company. Generally, customers call their provider to talk to a live rep about lowering their rates. They have questions about charges they don't recognize. They want to report an interruption of service, or they need to make changes to their account. But if that person can't reach a live rep because they can't navigate the customer service queue, or they've been on hold for 45 minutes with no end in sight, then it becomes a complaint. In these situations, we will send a complaint to the company, which will ensure that a rep will call the customer to address the customer's needs. It's very satisfying when we follow up with these customers and they tell us, "I can't believe you put me in touch with a real person." Another one of our top 5 complaints comes from consumers reporting down or unburied cable lines. Unfortunately, communication lines are not marked, so consumers, emergency personnel, city workers, they have no idea who owns a down or unburied line. The good news is they can contact us and we'll figure it out. And if a utility pole is involved, needs to be repaired or removed, we will partner with the PUCO to make sure that both the pole and the line gets taken care of. And finally, as mentioned in our previous segment, the local governments retained jurisdiction over the franchise fees. However, we have had situations where a company's billing system mistakenly billed all customers in a zip code rather than just those customers who live in the village or township portion of that zip code. We reported the errant fees to the company, and work with them to make sure that the fees were removed, the system was updated, credits applied to those customers who paid, and that late fees were removed for those who didn't pay. So as you can see, we do a lot more than just enforce our 8 consumer service standards.
And how do I tell me again? How do I contact the VSA program?
Sure, you can contact us via phone at our cable complaint hotline at 877-207-2225. Send us an email at vsa@com.ohio.gov, or file a complaint through our website, which is com.ohio.gov/VSA.
Thanks for listening to Protecting What Matters from the Ohio Department of Commerce. We are your resource for all safety information for your home or business. Here's a quick safety message reminder from the Ohio State Fire Marshal's office.
So smoke alarms, we want to make sure we're putting those on each level of the house. Each bedroom that you're at, where anybody sleeps, put that inside that bedroom, and then outside where the people sleep. They're important because what you typically have is that early activation, early notification of something happening, in this case smoke building up, and that usually is what tells you that there's a fire happening. So having those placed in those locations that are appropriate, making sure that you're checking the alarms themselves about once a month just to make sure that they're working, change the batteries on them, we like to say twice a year right now, and then after 10 years, those entire alarms are going to need replaced.
For more information on the State Fire Marshal, visit our website at com.ohio.gov/fire. And be sure to check out some of our previous podcast episodes on all podcast platforms.
Welcome back to Protecting What Matters. We're talking about cable television and how the Video Service Authorization Program regulates it. Linda, what are some common questions you get from consumers related to service interruptions?
Well, there are several different types of service interruptions. For example, service may be completely out, meaning all of your channels are off. You have a blank screen, nothing is working. These consumers want to know, why is my service out? When will it be restored? And will I receive a credit? Or you have situations where the interruption may be sporadic, like a frozen screen or tiling that lasts 1 minute, maybe 5 minutes, and it happens throughout the day or only at night. And it may be going on for weeks or months. And then there are those situations where a channel is out because of a contract dispute between the programmer and the cable provider. When this happens, customers want to know, what is Commerce doing to end the dispute? Will they receive a credit? And whether we have any insight as to when the dispute will be over, i.e., when will the channel be restored? In all these situations, we will send a complaint to the company for resolution.
And I imagine you also get a lot of billing questions as well. So what are some common ones that you get?
We do. The majority of our complaints come from customers who are frustrated with the high cost of service. They want to know, why did my rate go up? Why is service so expensive? Or to report that they didn't receive any notice prior to an increase in rates. Customers also want to know why companies are not required to prorate bills when a customer disconnects service in the middle of a billing cycle. Over the last 5 years, many Ohio-based and nationally recognized companies stopped prorating bills. This is a very frustrating policy for customers. Customers tend to terminate their service to save money and are very upset when they learn that their previous company has billed them for service that they no longer have. Customers also wonder, why do I have so many fees on my bill? Are they all necessary? Who authorized these fees? And they are looking for an explanation of each fee. For example, what is the franchise fee? Or what is the broadcast service fee? And why are they so expensive? We also receive questions from folks regarding unauthorized charges on their bill. These complaints tend to involve an accidental purchase of an on-demand movie or event and can be easily remedied by placing a block on your account. Finally, customers also call us because their service has been disconnected for non-payment and are looking for help to restore their service. Are payment arrangements available through the company? Are there other avenues for financial help? Customers also ask, There are mitigating circumstances. So will the company be willing to waive some of the past due charges? These are all questions that, again, we forward to the company and are able to get results from the company.
And aside from sending complaints to the companies, are there other ways the VSA program can be a good resource for consumers?
Absolutely. Our website contains a service area map. Consumers can check out the map to see who provides service in their community. Our website also has a complete list of the authorizations issued to cable providers since 2007. We are also an educational resource. We are trained to help customers on all things cable, help lowering your bill, discuss options to traditional cable TV, explain the charges on your bill. In fact, there are times when we have walked a customer through their invoice line by line. We can also explain why the company is digging in your yard and help qualified customers obtain discounts for internet service. So that's how we help consumers, but we're also here for local governments. In the beginning, we helped local governments navigate the transition from the traditional franchise system to an authorization system. This was a huge undertaking to educate the local governments about the changes involving the complaint process, franchise fees, passing resolutions and ordinances, and PEG channels, which are those public educational and government channels. In addition to telephone calls, our staff conducted meet and greets with officials at their offices. And then we also support the cable providers. When companies are installing new services, sometimes disputes arise regarding easements, right-of-ways, cut utility lines, providing notice to residents. In these situations, we have acted as a mediator between the local governments and companies to resolve disputes.
And for issues that the VSA doesn't have jurisdiction over, what are some other agencies that can be of assistance?
Sure, our website contains a list of referral agencies. For example, we would refer customers to the Federal Communications Commission for questions regarding internet service, signal leakage, mergers, or if they want to know why rates are unregulated. We also refer folks to the Federal Trade Commission for telemarketer complaints, do not call complaints, and other situations related to scams. We also refer folks to the Ohio Attorney General's office for complaints about satellite TV, streaming services, scams, paying for services, but you're not getting the service. And then we also have a great relationship with the PUCO, the Public Utilities Commission of Ohio. We refer folks over there for electric, gas, water, and telephone. But as I mentioned earlier, we do work with the PUCO to help folks get those utility poles taken care of, get lines removed. So we have a great relationship with the PUCO. We also can refer folks to OOPS. OOPS is that place you call before you dig, the Ohio Utilities Protection Service. That information is on our website as well. And then finally, don't forget to contact your local government officials. They can be very helpful with specific questions related to rights of way, easement, and the franchise fees.
And tell me again, how do I contact the VSA program?
We can be reached via our cable complaint hotline at 877-207-2225. Send us an email at vsa@com.ohio.gov or file a complaint through our website at com.ohio.gov/VSA.
Well, thanks for joining us in this episode, Linda. And thank you for listening to this episode of Protecting What Matters. You can find more information, of course, again at com.ohio.gov/VSA.